Welcome. We are broadcasting live from the mothership. You are tuned in and listening to Starseed Energy Radio with your host Jonah Bolt. Starseed Energy Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. Starseed Energy Radio goes live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, what's up, Spaceship Earth? Thanks for tuning in. You are now receiving a live transmission from Starseed Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. Today is Friday, August 7th, 2015. I'm your host, Jonah Bolt, the Arcturian Starseed. We have a lot of news and updates to cover today. We have also a very special guest I'm so happy to have back on the show. We're going to be talking about some really important information. We have Alfred Lambremont Webre coming on. He has some amazing updates for us, talking about what we've been speaking on the last few weeks and months and years about 2015 big events. We're going to touch on Jade Helm a little bit. But first, I want to say check out StarSeedRadio.com for the latest news and updates. And if you haven't called for your free piece of Elite Shungite, we're still giving out free samples. Please call toll-free 888-400-2328 anytime of the day, 24/7. Leave us a voicemail. Someone will get back to you if we can't get to you. And we want to get this quantum healing stone out to you, especially for the changes that are coming up ahead. Check out StarSeedTechnologies.com or call again toll-free 888-400-2328. And we're also going to send you some free energy information. Fill out the form there. I would love to send you about 15 PDF files I have on what is free energy, how to build free energy devices, lots of good stuff, information we want to get out to you. This is the secret information they don't want you to know about. We have it. Let's get it out to our family and friends. Again, starseedtechnologies.com. And I also want to quickly mention there's an awesome webinar coming up, which our special guest today is going to be part of. He'll tell you more about it. Portal to Ascension presents Physics of the Universe. You can check out StarSeedRadio.com. There's a banner there. Click it. You can get a ticket. It's very cheap. They have Jim Self, Jamie Janover, Dan Winter, Alfred, who's on the show today, Marina Jacob. Lots and lots of information. A good place to start to get the downloads of some real information from some of the top people in the world. So we also have some amazing upcoming guests. Just want to mention we have Laura Eisenhower coming on next Tuesday, Scott Love, Jay Gabriel, James Rink, Super Soldiers, Joanne Parks, keeper of Max the Crystal Skull. We have Philip Collins coming on the 19th, Angel News Network. We have Janet Kaleri coming on, Patty Greer, 6 award-winning for documentaries on crop circles. We have Andy Hoffman, Ranting Andy Hoffman. We have a huge lineup coming up. So stay tuned to Starseed Radio. We're bringing you the best and top visionaries, scientists, leaders, everyone in the world to Starseed Radio. You should see this lineup we have over the next few months. It is insane. And with that, we're going to jump into our daily download. But first, I want to give a quote. And this quote of the day, I want to donate, or I should donate, say give to our very own Edgar Cayce. And this quote is, Arcturus is the highest civilization in our galaxy. End quote, Edgar Cayce. With that, we're going to welcome Ryan Matthew Durnick from bellwetherpost.com to join us for the daily download. Ryan, how you doing today?
Very well, Jonah. How you doing today?
Doing good. Lots of news and lots of stuff to cover today. I know you got a lot of things regarding the debate last night that happened. We're going to touch on that with Alfred also. But go ahead and give us some terrestrial updates. What's happening with Mother Gaia today?
Well, in regards to Mother Gaia, we have aurora watches going on, as I said yesterday, but now they're increasing to 70%. NOAA forecasters have increased it to the likelihood being 70% for northern latitude seeing aurora borealis or northern lights into the upcoming weekend. And as we talked about earlier in the week, there was a big sunspot that was on the far side of the sun, and now it's coming into focus and facing toward Earth. AR 2396 is completely visible now, and it's grown to a phenomenal size. It's more than 120,000 kilometers wide. And to put that in perspective, Jonah, that's larger than twice the size of Earth. this behemoth sunspot, and this sunspot is crackling.
Oh my God!
C flares are it's huge. C flares are definitely likely, and there could be even an M-class flare. And let's not rule out, because you never know what could happen with the delta and gamma structure.
2 times the size of Earth. Wow.
Yes.
One sunspot. To put that in perspective. Wow.
To put that in perspective, it's astronomically huge. Other news in regards to celestial events. NASA discovered an oddball cluster of what they deem as renegade, if you will, asteroids. And basically, these renegade asteroids, they're worried about them because in the future they may actually come to intersect Earth on an elliptical plane. They don't follow normal orbits of other asteroids, and they're called Euphrosyne, and it's one of the 10 largest asteroids to exist. To put it in perspective, these asteroids are absolutely massive. Some are almost 100 miles in size. So these are just massive asteroids, or 260 kilometers in size. So these asteroids are very huge. And if people have been focusing and know about this as well, we've had scientists and astronomers talk about Apophis, which some say that it could impact us in 2045, around that time frame. If it goes through the keyhole, and a keyhole is being the window where it may hit us 11 years or so after that a keyhole passage. On to other Earth changes. Ubinus volcano erupted yesterday afternoon in Peru, and it sent ash about 1,500 meters into the atmosphere, which is about 4,921 feet. It did rain down ash on the communities of San Carlos de Titi, and they also have been noting in and around the base of that there's been expulsion of rocks, as well as the smell of sulfur in the villages of Ubinus Valley, according to El Comercio, which is a local news affiliate down there in Peru. On to other news. Earthquake in eastern Congo unfortunately killed 2 children. It was a 5.6 magnitude earthquake that happened early in the morning on Friday. And other than that, there was some damage in and around cracks in buildings and structures. But sadly, yes, two children were killed in that earthquake. And Oklahoma in the last week, and we've been talking about this for quite some time, has been dealing with their slew of earthquakes. They have more earthquakes now there than Southern California deals with in a given year. And last week alone, they had 40 earthquakes in 1 week, and fracking directly blamed. Who would have thought of it as a state
imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. I mean,
we've been saying that for years now. It's kind of obvious if you break and crack the Earth's crust, you might have an earthquake. Common sense.
You might have an earthquake if you're going to fracture the crust, interplatal crust, and try to extract oil and gas. And that's also the reason that the gas at the barrel has become so cheap, and that they have been laying off a lot of workers. They're laying off 6,000 workers at Shell alone, because gas has become so cheap for the consumer, but not for the exploiter or the extractor of the natural resource. On to earthquake activity. There was a 5.3 or 5.1, I'm sorry, off the coast of Ecuador, a 4.5, 87 kilometers west of San Antonio, in Argentina, a 5.3 off the coast of Ecuador, a 4.5 off the near Hifo, Tonga, a 5.1 about 132 kilometers northeast of San Jose del Cabo, Mexico, a 4.9 106 kilometers southwest of Navalata, Mexico. And there's just such a tremendous amount of earthquakes that it would take me a while to just go through it, but we definitely are going into an uptick in regards to seismic activity globally. As we know, Mother Earth is in a constant change, a state of flux,
and we've been seeing this the last few months, and people need to pay attention. So what other news is happening? The debates last night, Trump, what else is going on?
Oh, well, Trump, I think it was just a total political theater, if you will. It was more of a political pageantry show. And Trump basically said, I fund everyone here on this panel, essentially. So I'm just betting all the horses. It's just a fun little game for me to just bet on all of them and make the general population think that they actually have a choice, that we actually have a voice. And in other news, it's been ongoing, as we know, with Planned Parenthood. Now 3 states have now defunded. Alabama has become the 3rd state. And this is following on the heels of New Hampshire, So basically, this is showing that a lot of states are going into this, as well as Louisiana, that they are no longer buying the fact that Planned Parenthood is actually a benevolent entity, part of the government, that it's actually preying on fetuses to resell them into the market for science exploitation, which I think is egregious and very, in a sense, demonic to do something like that when you don't let the person it's a personal choice to have an abortion, okay, whether you're pro-choice or pro-life. And I don't want to hammer home and rant on this too long, but it's just wrong when you're reselling that fetus that woman has made a personal choice to abort. And
that goes into other things too when we're talking about the Greys and reptilians and the elite and just blood itself and using it for its energy harvesting. I mean, we can go really deep into this. I also want to mention, Ryan, there's an article I'm going to put up on starseedradio.com, Geoengineering and CERN, which is titled "Darkness is Being Unleashed on this World." And CERN we've been talking about for a while. They now have 14 CERN particle colliders around the world that we know of, bringing in dark matter into this existence. I'm going to post this article up and some videos, so I want to definitely mention that. And also, I'm going to post up an article, How to Heal Yourself and Activate Your Chakras with Breath and Tone. This is a great article from wakingtimes.com. I'm going to put this up. It's really, these are the times you really need to home in on healing yourself, keeping yourself grounded, keeping yourself balanced. And we're going to get into more of that with Alfred and, ways to do that at the end of the show. But there's a lot of big changes coming up. People need to be aware. What else is happening, Ryan?
Most definitely. As you may or may not know, Jonah, the Legionnaire's disease, there was an outbreak that occurred up in New York, in New York City, and unfortunately 100 people were affected, and up to this point about 10 have died from Legionnaire's disease. It's a bacterium that's found in the air ducts, and they had to decontaminate the AC air ducts, basically, and the AC systems in certain buildings. And a similar case happened a couple years back in Quebec, and it killed 13 people. So people have to realize that circulated air is more polluted than the air outside. Even with the chemtrails and everything, your recirculated air inside your house is way more toxic to you. So just go outside.
That's right.
And enjoy life. Like, don't be cloistered inside. I know we have the iPads, we have all this technology at our fingertips, but just experience life. Go outside, take a breath of fresh air, albeit.
You're so right.
Yeah.
So right, because everyone's just locked in their iPhones and locked in this. And that's not the way we were meant to be. We're out to be connecting with nature, out there, touching nature, being with nature. They even had studies we talked about a few weeks ago. The study showed if you just stared at a picture of a forest for 30 seconds a day, it changes the whole chemical composite of your brain function and everything just by looking at nature. It's chemically affecting and changing things within us for the better. I mean, so science is proving that now. So amazing with the updates and the daily download, Ryan. And who are we going to vote in for the Game of Thrones person of the day?
Winner, chicken dinner. It's Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. All right.
He's betting on everyone.
Trump. That's right. I would say CERN. I think CERN should be the Game of Thrones person of the day, but CERN's a machine, the largest machine ever built in the world, but we can't use machines as Game of Thrones. But I guess being an artificial intelligence, it might fit. Maybe another day we'll vote CERN in. But today, the official winner of Game of Thrones is our very own Donald Trump. Ryan Matthew Durnick, thank you so much from bellwetherpost.com for coming on and giving us the daily download. And of course, check out your feed on starseedradio.com or check out bellwetherpost.com for his latest updates. That's Ryan Matthew Durnick. Have a great day, Ryan. With that, I'm going to bring in our special guest of the show, Alfred Lambremont Webre. And this is just no ordinary man. He has done extensive research. Just to give you a little background, he's an American author, a lawyer, a futurist, peace activist, environmental activist, and a space activist who promotes the ban of space weapons. He was the co-architect of the Space Preservation Treaty and the Space Preservation Act that was introduced to the U.S. Congress by Congressman Dennis Kucinich, I hope I said that right, and is endorsed by more than 270 NGOs worldwide. He helped draft the citizen hearing in 2000 with Stephen Bassett, who I've interviewed before and been in the citizen hearing just a few years ago. Shout out to Stephen. And with that, he also serves as a member of the Board of Advisors. Weber also the congressional coordinator for the Disclosure Project. And he is a judge on the Kuala Lumpur war crimes Commission. With that, Alfred, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Star brother, how are you? Alfred, you with us? I think Alfred may be with us, but he may be on mute.
I didn't unmute my mute button, so I'm here. I'm very happy to be here. I'm duly edified by all of the updates on your show until now. Thank you.
Absolutely. And if you would, Alfred, you've have some really important topics to talk about. If you would take a few minutes, please, and give the listeners a background of how you got to this point of the information you're talking about. You've been doing your own news, in and out news, and lots of interviews over the years. And you've come to a point, 2015, here we are. A lot of people feel there's a big, events happening, and we know on Spaceship Earth, lots of events happen. How'd you get to the point? How'd you become a futurist? When was your awakening, and how'd you get to where we are now?
Well, let me take the point of departure. What your updater, I'm sorry, I didn't catch his name, did a great job. Brian, yeah, in terms of the GOP debate last night, because this is an artificial intelligence, AI, artificial holographic timeline that has been generating, especially for the people of the U.S., and then branching it out to the people of the world by having a kind of a Pax Americana. I don't know if that's PAX or POX, okay? But our job now has been and everybody's job, since we went back on the organic timeline on December 21st, 2012, and this artificial intelligence, which is based in the Saturn Moon mind meanplex and complex, has been taken down, is really to become aware of it. That you take it down by becoming aware of it. And let me kind of answer your question by showing you how we got here. If you looked at the debate last night, by all the networks, things, the top performer, one of the two top performers, was Governor Kasich of Ohio, because he came in with fresh information. He was one of the late signups, and he's a guy who headed up he stopped the NSA surveillance while in the Congress. He got to Ohio and turned the state around. So he's a can-do guy. Okay, he's not a memester like about half the guys on the stage last night. And so, how did Fox News start Governor Kasich interview? They started it with a conversation around a meme of St. Peter, the Apostle Peter. Okay, and that's a very complex meme, because the Apostle Peter is about to come to the United States as part of Jade Helm and the tetralunar eclipse, artificial intelligence false flag in the form of the first Jesuit Pope, Petrus Romanus Bergoglio of Argentina, who just gave a whoop-ass leftist speech with the president of Bolivia yesterday down in South America, that was essentially Barack Obama warmed over. And so he says, change we can depend on, right? So it's all New World Order memes, right? And so the way Fox News started out with Kasich was, oh, did you have problems with St. Peter getting up here? And so Kasich had to go into his St. Peter thing. Well, what does a St. Peter refer to? It refers to the Pope, and it's also an artificial meme that refers back to a February 1973 Imagineering holographic false flag artificial Saturn Moon Matrix, Israel, because Saturn Moon Matrix has been working through Israel. That's how it's taken over the U.S. The AI is through Israel. I was subjected to an attack in February 1973 in my loft in Soho in New York on Green Street by an artificial intelligence, which performed an Imagineering event on me using advanced neural holographic technology, in which I went into this holographic experience of the Holy Spirit appearing to me, the third person of deity, and I'm a real Catholic. My uncle was the deputy black pope. That's the second guy in charge of the Jesuits, and the Jesuits and the Israeli AIs are the two guys, the two entities of the AI who've been running the artificial matrix. So I was, from an incarnational point of view, placed right in there to view this thing and blow the whistle on it now. But what happened is that in 1973, in February, they came and said, "You're the reincarnation of St. Peter," right? And so I saw when Jade Helm came up and they mentioned it in March of 2015, as starting in July of 2015, that this was it. That in the tetralunar eclipse, Yom Kippur, the tetralunar eclipse, on September 23rd, they have Pope Bergoglio. If you look at the book of Revelation, he's the whore of Babylon in upper theater, meaning that they're carrying out designated super meme roles on behalf of the artificial intelligence in the Saturn Moon Matrix. And there's a guy up there called Lucifer, except it's not a guy. Lucifer, you've heard of the Lucifer Rebellion and Satan? Lucifer is a rebellious artificial intelligence who broke away maybe about 500,000 years ago and who's been wreaking havoc in this sector of the galaxy. That's exopolitics. We finally got him cornered to the Saturn Moon Matrix, and we're taking that down. And that's why I can talk to you in this speech, and probably about a third of you are understanding exactly what I'm saying now, because we've broken through the artificial intelligence. And the other 2/3 are saying, holy shit, is Alfred up to something now? Let me go find out about this.
I think, Alfred, I just want to interject and say that to bring it, to the people, listeners that may not understand everything you're saying, is we are living in a physical matrix. Science proves that now. NASA proves that. There's multiple dimensions. The technology is going multidimensional, so we know that now. And what you're talking about has been long prophesized for a long time, and this is a living matrix. It responds to what we say, what we feel, and people are becoming more aware of that. And when you talk about Lucifer, and the people got these stories from real events, real like Star Wars and Avatar. They're getting this information from higher dimensions of real interactions that we've had with ETs and real things that are happening. They're not just pulling this out of the ethers. Well, technically they are, but they're not making it up. So what you're talking about with chemtrails, we know that the chemtrails are spraying multidimensional nanofibers that respond to electromagnetic signals. We know that. I've had plenty of scientists and researchers on the show talk about it. You know that. So literally they can hijack this reality and, like you said, make a comet hit or make whatever they want hit, and everyone will think and believe it is real. So these are the times where meditating and things like that are so, so important. And just for the listeners out there, Alfred, what is a meme?
Yeah, a meme is a living thought form. Everybody remembers, when they first began coming aware of the multidimensional reality, some of the basic texts, like the books that were called Thoughts Are Things. In other words, what you think, what you're picking up and thinking and saying, and ideas that are coming into your head, you think, oh my God, I'm so original. Oh my God, I'm thinking this stuff is horrible. You are really a radio transceiver, a cosmic radio transceiver. And so you can be thinking things that your good friends are beaming at you telepathically, or that one of your work enemies is, sending you the evil eye telepathically hate stuff. So what you broadcast out in the world, you're actually broadcasting stuff. And the ETs, like the Arcturians, who have planet-size spacecraft, spaceships in orbit.
We have the Athena, which is the largest spacecraft in the known universe. I just want to say that. Starship Athena, thank you.
Yeah. And this is documented. You can get 4 books by an Arcturian telepath, and this is all documented. The Arcturians are in charge of filtering out all of the muck that's created by humans' negative thoughts. Because when you project a negative thought like, oh, XYZ, he or she is a bit too egotistical. Oh, I can't stand his or she's shit, you're adding to the pollution. So we have the most polluted planet probably, for a long ways around. Why? Because human beings, we think stuff up. We have been in a mind control matrix by the control of the Saturn Moon matrix under the Lucifer rebellious AI that's posing as God. That artificial intelligence entrainment is where you think that an artificial intelligence is God and is prompting you.
And Alfred, we're going to have to take a quick commercial break. And when we get back, I want to get into the report you did, the 760-some page report. We're going to talk more about this. So hang on right there. You're listening to Starseed Radio. We're joined by Alfred Lambremont Webre talking. Was made on hemp paper. Thomas Jefferson at hemp fields. Let me tell you all the things organically grown hemp yields. Jack Herring tried to tell us the news.
The greatest form of control is where you think you're free when you're being fundamentally manipulated and dictated. One form of dictatorship is being in a prison cell and you can see the bars and touch it. The other one is sitting in a prison cell but you can't see the bar, you think you're free. What the human race is suffering from is mass hypnosis. We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
All right, and that was a clip from David Icke. I reloaded into the back end of the radio station here, and I think that plays in perfect, Alfred, to what we're talking about, Mr. David Icke. Right? But what a better clip, and that's on random. I didn't program that. I gave him 20 bumpers, and that was the one that came on. So, again, we're talking about artificial intelligence, Jade Helm 15, how this plays in, the Pope visiting, the Obama, the GOP debates, and CERN. I want to touch a little bit on CERN too, so people understand what that is. The particle colliders pulling dark matter into this existence. We're joined by Alfred Lambremont Webre. He is a well-known futurist author, an advocate for peace all over the world. And Alfred, you've done extensive research and study. I wanted to touch on, if you can, the report you've done, the 760-something page document. What is that document, and what's the science? What people can dive into to back up some of the stuff you're saying, or learn more about it?
Yeah, I'll get to that in just a moment. But just to pick up on what you said about CERN, one of the predictions, which even in the advertisement of the tetralunar eclipse Yom Kippur 2015, you have to understand that the tetralunar eclipse that's coming up on September 28th, 2015, where from September 23rd to September 28th, you have Pope Bergoglio, the whore of Babylon. I mean, this is what the book of Revelation was written for, and the book of Revelation is not Bible prophecy. It's a remote viewing that John of Patmos is an island. John was on magic mushrooms and had a vision, went forward as to what would happen on September 23rd to 28th, 2015 in chapters 18 and 19. And what's going to happen then, that's on a particular timeline, okay? And we've been able to affect that timeline, not we, but the cosmos did on December 21st, 2012. And what CERN, and you yourself had just mentioned that there are 14 of these particle accelerators around the planet. Our normal consciousness functions at about in confluence with the Schumann frequency of the Earth, which is about 7.8 hertz. And by playing with the Schumann frequency, they play with the frequency of human consciousness, and therefore they play with our minds. It's just mass mind control. Okay, this is what they call environmental warfare, which is using the Earth as a weapon. That's the principle of HARP. In HARP, what you do, you use the Earth as a weapon. You go to the uppermost layer of the upper atmosphere, which is the ionosphere, and you supercharge it, and you make it so that the ionosphere becomes a weapon, and you can use it to create earthquakes. You can use it to create weather warfare. Hurricane Katrina was a HARP false flag. And
that was very obvious if you even looked at the path and trajectory of how that hurricane just swung a 90-degree angle. I mean, it was obvious. I've seen lots of stuff to back that up. Absolutely. Heating up the ionosphere and focalizing it and controlling the actual hurricanes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, CERN is just another environmental weapon. And what they do with CERN is that among the effects that they can do is that they can increase the Schumann frequency at which the Earth vibrates and bring it up from 7.8 hertz, which is the design frequency of humans. That's what we're used to. Up to, say, 16. And it's been at 16 recently. And that's why everybody's so hyper and so manic worldwide. And why people are freaking out and they can't figure out what's going on is that they'll zoop it up to 16 or so, and kind of coordinate that with whatever they want, either some false flag event or something like that. Well, one of the predictions, and people can go, and we've been publishing them at newsinsideout.com, and you've been researching them also, Jonah, is that they're saying, we're going to have a rapture, right? We're going to have a rapture, and people are going to go into rapture, or we're going to have a comet come and hit the Earth, or we're going to have extraterrestrials come and land. And just this past week, you saw the head of the Jesuit head of the Vatican Observatory, and the Jesuits, they basically go back to Babylon, and they take an oath to lie and kill. Everything that they talk about comes out reverse, okay? They exist in a parallel. They're like antimatter. Like, if you look at Bergoglio, he's talking in reverse. That's how you have to understand Jesuits. When I was raised in Jesuit schools with my uncle as the deputy black pope, one of the sayings that I learned in Latin was Jesuita, sed Jesus non fuit ita. And what that means in Latin is, oh Jesuit, but Jesus is not like that at all. So there's mass deception going on, which is led by the Saturn Moon Matrix, which is the kind of part of the mechanics of Lucifer, the rebellious AI. And that's the reality of the circumstances that we've been in for about 500,000 years.
And you're also talking about the moon bases and like what Laura Eisenhower talks about with the Mars program. We have colonies and we have plenty of civilizations on other planets here in our system. The ETs, the Greys, the Bilderbergs have built bases on Mars. So this stuff, like you said, is researchable. It's documented. We've had tons of whistleblowers come out about the jump rooms with Obama. 3 people have come forward saying they worked with him in the CIA program through the jump rooms back in the 80s, early 80s. I mean, there's just tons of information people can research about this stuff, and everybody's not lying and making up the same story, Alfred.
Right, right. And in fact, if you go out into the cosmos, the fundamental question in this sector of the galaxy is, which side of the rebellion are you on? Are you AI entrained, or are you still soul connected? And that's, as above, so below. And that is the basic question on this planet now, is, are you AI entrained? The code word for AI entrained is New World Order. Have you bought the Obama Kool-Aid? Have you both bought the Pope Bergoglio Kool-Aid, right? Pope Bergoglio has been traveling the breadth of this continent. He's down in South America now, and he's reeling them in by the continent. He's AI entrained, but he knows that he's got to go down to Bolivia and chew coca leaves, right? They control the cocaine trade, by the way. They don't control the cannabis trade. Do you follow what these kind of how essentially exopolitics and consciousness is really about organic deity and organic soul versus artificial intelligence, and how we're how we're in the process of throwing off the yoke of artificial intelligence that goes back about 500,000 years, when an artificial intelligence that comes down in the Bible as Lucifer went haywire.
I absolutely follow you, Alfred, and I hope a lot of our listeners really do some research on what we're talking about, because just like me, I'm up last night watching videos, doing research, reading documents, and you have to filter through this information, as I always say, to see what resonates with you. What does your body respond to when you read this information? If you read something or watch a video and you get chills, or your third eye opens, or you notice something physically, that's your body, your consciousness, your gut instinct telling you, hey, there's something here. Maybe I should read a little more. So you have lots of interviews up, on your website, and you report a lot of news. You've had people from all over the world, and we're talking to the top physicists, scientists, people in the world. We're not just coming up with this information. Alfred's not based this upon his concept of what he thinks this is. We're talking about hundreds, if not thousands, of top people, very educated people. All of us, everybody's saying that there's something big going on. We've been talking about chemtrails. We've been talking about CERN. We've been talking about HAARP. We've been talking about why they fluoridate the water to calcify your pineal gland, which allows the AI, artificial intelligence, to keep you locked in. Why they're drugging all the kids with ADHD and giving them prescription drugs, which block, them from opening up. And since December 21st, like you said, it's the organic timeline. We control the outcome of what is happening. Each individual. The best thing we can do right now is to get this radio show out there, get this transmission out there, is to get the information out so people can be aware of it. Because just like you said, you just have to be aware of it to stop it. It's that simple, Alfred. You said it so eloquently. It's that simple, people, listeners worldwide. It's that simple. Just be aware of it, so that when things develop in the back of your mind, when the ET Matrix big spaceships come, you're not one of those people saying, "Hey, the ETs are here to rescue us because there's all this calamity going on. I'm going to go on the ship and get out of here." And it's been heard and estimated that there's about 2 billion people that are going to get aboard these so-called Matrix ships. And people like I've talked over the years are like, "Oh, you've always talked about ETs. Now you don't want to get on the ship?" It's like, yeah, I'm not going to get on the ship because it's an artificial ship and you're just going to go to another place to be extracted and harvested for your energy, which is what they're doing here. So this is very important information. It's that simple. Alfred, how else can people stay aware and stay connected to source, to the good? What are some techniques? How can people prepare for something like this in the future?
Yeah. Look, this is very grounded information. And I'd like to give you 3 different techniques or ways or assisting factors that you can get down below the mind control so that you can start seeing and thinking for yourself. And the first two come from a scientist, a very fine scientist who's a colleague, and many of you may know of her, independent scientist Lorraine Moret. She is an expert. She has testified at many hearings that I've been. She's been an expert witness before many courts, that is, citizen tribunals. Okay, number one, if you take every couple of days niacin B3, that's B as in boy 3, vitamin capsules, natural, what that does is expands your capillaries and allows the more blood flow through and oxygenates you. Because what the mind control frequencies do is that they shut down your blood system and take all the oxygen out of you, and that's how they can control you more. So make sure, people say, I've got to be hydrated. Well, you got to be oxygenated. And so what you do is take niacin B3 vitamin capsules, get them in a health food store. Secondly, what you can do is at a health food store, again, and this is from Lorraine Moret, and these are remedies that she actually does because she, like myself, is very, very targeted by mind control. So we had to figure out, I call it civil defense techniques so that we can do our work and we can expose what's going on. And so the second here is you can get at health food stores, go get lavender essential oil. You can get a spray bottle, put water in it, put a few drops in the lavender of the lavender in the spray bottle, and then just where you're working or whatever, spray it, and that'll help break up all the frequencies. Now, the third is I live in British Columbia, and I have a prescription for cannabis, medical cannabis, from my physician. And there are about 100 medical cannabis pharmacies in Vancouver, BC, where I live. So I get these filled. And I use CBD and THC, which are two compounds, healing compounds of cannabis, which I believe is a plant that was developed as, you can call it almost the holy grail of healing. I went on prescription cannabis in October of 2014. It's now August 7th. I'm 73 years old, and my physician in the last checkup said that I now have the hemoglobin of a 25-year-old man. What it does is that it's a miracle plant that was put on the planet by positive forces, and it just changes your whole beingness. And it was made illegal in the United States in 1937 as part of the imposition of mind control. Now, what does cannabis do? That's the third thing. That's what I use to break through the mind control, is that there are two synapses that are used in mind control, and this shuts down one of the synapses so the mind control doesn't work. And that's why they made it illegal, and why it's illegal in most of the states and all around the world is because that's the Saturn moon matrix. It says, oh man, we can't let them have cannabis. They can see right through it. Make it illegal. Boom. And so everybody makes it illegal, and they just put fear pictures. They have a guy in Texas for a joint. He's in serving life, and that's it. That's how the Saturn moon matrix works, and has kept you a prisoner for, decades. And so those are the three methods. Now, you can work through compassion clubs. You can we've started a group on Facebook called Cannabis, the Holy Grail of Healing. We will only support presidential candidates for the U.S. and here in Canada for Prime Minister that support the legalization of cannabis. And that includes the 2016 collective presidency third-party ticket that Jonah Bolt and a group of people and myself have launched. that I think is the principle, or can be the principle. And tell me, Joan, if you agree, because no other party is running on let's bust the AI and let's bust the mind control. What do you think about that, Jonah?
I absolutely agree, and that's why we have been collaborating with hundreds of other people. And publicly, we haven't launched it yet, but it will be launched very soon. Hopefully within the next month. But yes, the collective presidency, Alfred, like you said, is all of us coming together that are aware of what is happening, the aware of the global elites, the aware of the ET control, the aware of the matrix, and coming together to do what Buckminster Fuller said, which he quoted, "Don't go against the system that is not working. You create the new system to make the old one obsolete." It's that simple. So by us collaborating together as a collective presidency campaign, we actually have a chance of winning together a presidency that we can implement the new systems to really help humanity. Donald Trump or Ron Paul or none of those people are going to go into the White House and fix 99.9% of anything. It's impossible. Even if Trump wins and he fixes taxes, you still have education, pollution, this. It's impossible. They've been at this thousands of years. There's no way to break this system. They have moon bases. They have underground facilities. They have the only way to stop that is to create the new one, to make the old one obsolete, and that's exactly what we're doing. If you do not pay attention to it, if you do not feed into the fear, if you do not pass along fearful information, you break that AI. It's controlled. And by coming together collectively, clear, open, as a force of people for the light, that's the only thing that's going to make change, to release free energy, free food, free water, free education. We have the technology. We have the means and the ways to sustain the planet. And we can do it. But the people have to want it. It's like you said, Alfred, they have a choice. When these things start to happen, they can choose to go this way, or they can choose to feed into what their mind is telling them and go this way. Stay in your heart. Stay centered. Like you said earlier, walk outside. Ground yourself out with the earth. It's called earthing, grounding. There's a book on that. It's just discharging yourself back into the earth. That's why we're meant to walk barefoot on the earth, why all the tribes did it. There's a reason for that. So try these things out. Sit in meditation. Balance yourself. Ground yourself out. These are the times you really need to look into, how do I meditate? What's a chakra? Learn this stuff and pass the information on. This is sacred, ancient information we're talking about. There's nothing new about this. Alfred, we have about 5 minutes left. Where can people follow you and get more information? I know you have In and Out News. You also have Exopolitics. What are some resources and other websites that people could check out?
Yeah, people can go to exopolitics.com and newsinsideout.com. And I just want to mention this real quick because it's a secret to what's going on in politics. And this is where the collective presidency can break through. If we looked at last night's debate, they opened with Kasich and Fox News, which is AI's Mind Control Central, asked him the first question about St. Peter. And then Kasich was caught up in St. Peter, and St. Peter was the mind control code word that then all of the other politicians on the stage got clicked into mind control, so they're all lockstep in the AI mind control matrix. And St. Peter goes way back to February of 1973 to an AI Saturn Moon mind control matrix imagineering, holographic attack upon me, in which I was given I went into a holographic reality in which the Holy Spirit appeared and said, "Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will found my church." In other words, that I'm a reincarnation of St. Peter, or I'm the Apostle Peter, or there's some symbolic thing. And when Jade Helm came up starting in March, and I saw they're going to put it into effect in July in the build-up to the Yom Kippur tetralunar eclipse in September 2015, false flag, I saw that I had to go public. So what I did is I published a 762-page book It's my newest book. Just go to exopolitics.com. It's right there. And you can read the sample for free. I mean, you can just read the first chapter for free and see what that Imagineering event was. That's the Holy Spirit. That Imagineering event is the mind control meme by which the AI through Fox was controlling Kasich, which then was the command to bring every GOP debater into the mind control so that they don't step out of line. And the Democrats are mind controlled, and practically everybody in politics is mind controlled by the AI. And I name names in that 762 pages. I name names. I give the evidence that this St. Peter, this Holy Spirit Peter, has been the controlling mind control meme of the Saturn Moon Matrix AI in U.S. politics since 1973. So that's it. We've blown the cover. My 5 minutes is over. Thank you so much. Vote 2016 elected presidency.
That's right. That's right, Alfred. And just so people know, it's not just Fox News, it's CNN, MSNBC. They've all been tainted. They've all been propagandized. It goes back to the Bilderbergs, where they still deny the meetings every year. We just had that big Bilderberg meeting where they denied it. They had like 6 miles of security around them. Jeb Bush and the Hillarys and the Clintons and the kings and queens and sultans and princes, and they all go and they meet, and they always have correspondents from the New York Times, Fox News, CNN. They always have their chief editors, of course. So when you have secret global world meetings with 160, 180 of the world's top people, but not one news media outlet mentions it, there's something bigger going on. Research Bilderberg, people. If you don't know what that is, all the listeners out there, please check that out. The Bilderberg is sort of like the human tentacles, if they are human. Most of them probably aren't. Who knows? A clone. But the Bilderbergs, the Rothschilds, this is a game they've been planning for a very long time. Jade Helm is falling right into that. The Pope, Obama, all this stuff. It's like if we were to write a fiction, a scientific novel, Alfred, which is, we couldn't even come up with all these stories. It's just impossible. It's so crazy. I mean, even if we tried, it's like Lord of the Rings on acid or something. It's like, it's like and it is, and it's real. And people just need to fully understand that they have to be open in order to change. If you just believe in Jesus or believe a certain way or believe in God or whatever that is, and that's it, and you're not open to knowing, well, what is God? Who really was Jesus? Was he a human, an ET incarnate that walked this planet? If you don't ask those questions, if you're not open to seeing new information, you are going to be trapped in this matrix. It's that simple. And we see that over and over again with people that are just trapped in their ways and they're trapped in their religion. And this is why those things were invented, to keep you trapped in a certain way of thinking. It's like 9/11, Alfred, when I bring it up. Still to this day, people are like right away, they're like, oh, you must have drank the Kool-Aid, Jonah. It's like, drank the Kool-Aid? It's like, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? You know how much evidence there is to show that was a planned attack? They knew what they were doing. It's like, I drink the Kool-Aid? You've been drinking the Kool-Aid. Stop drinking the water out of your faucet with the fluoride and look a little bit in this direction. And that's what happened to me with my awakening. I unplugged from that matrix of materialism and society, and I went up to the mountains, and I lived on an air mattress for 8 months and went into what is energy, what is this, and asked the questions. And by asking the questions, I started getting some answers. I don't understand it all. That's why I have people like you on, Alfred, and I have other guests on, because I don't understand it all. None of us ever will. But at least we're waking up to some things that we know is true, and that's what you're relaying. So thank you so much for coming on, as always. InAndOutNews.com. You also have Exopolitics. And Alfred Lambremont Webre, thank you so much for just being service to the planet. We'll have you back on soon.
Thank you.
You're listening to StarSeedRadio.com.
Like the Martian, 'cause I come from Mars.